nothing but the truth.
उड़ीसा की भाजपा सरकार एक स्पेशल कमेटी का गठन करेगी और ये जांच करेगी कि अचानक नवीन बाबू की तबीयत क्यों गिरती जा रही है.
He has stated publicly before that I'm a good friend of his. All he had to do was pick up a telephone and ring me up and ask me about his health, about my health.
Naveen Patnaik, who's 5 times Chief Minister of Odisha and has been in power now for 24 years, is on the brink of making history. Elections for the state assembly polls are being held simultaneously with the Lok Sabha seats in his state, and if Naveen wins, he will create a national record of being Chief Minister for the 6th consecutive time. He is also in position to become India's longest serving Chief Minister, but if Naveen loses, given that he is 77 years of age, he is unlikely to contest again for Chief Ministership. So, the big question is, will Naveen Patnaik make history or be history? Hello, I'm Raj Chengappa of India Today, and in this episode of Nothing But the Truth, we will answer the big question of Naveen's tryst with history and also why the battle for Kalinga is one of the most significant ones being fought in election 2024. Now let's be clear, it has been an unusually controversial battle, especially with the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, making damning allegations that Naveen Patnaik is seriously ill and that he has become a puppet in the hands of a former IAS officer, V.K. Pandian, who they claim is the de facto chief minister. The BJP alleges that though Pandian is of Tamil origin, he is angling to take over as chief minister after the election. So the BJP's main election plank is restoring Odia's asmita or pride and preventing an outsider, as they call Pandian, from taking power. Naveen Patnaik has, of course, given back as good as he got, and he is not allowing the BJP to run away with a negative narrative. So it is a pitched battle that has turned acrimonious, bitter, and at times, unfortunately, stooped to very low levels of discourse. But first, a bit of background of the fascinating rise of Naveen Patnaik, of how he gave up his privileged life and stuck to the task of bringing about a developmental revolution in one of India's poorest states. It is a story that I think is good for a movie. When Naveen Patnaik first took over as Chief Minister on March 5, 2000, he was seen as unfit for the job and doomed to failure. Naveen was born and raised in privilege. He went to the Doon School, where Sanjay Gandhi, the younger son of Indira Gandhi, was his classmate. His father was the legendary Biju Patnaik, who had served as Chief Minister of Odisha earlier, but Naveen was least interested in politics when he was young. He was absorbed instead in a jet-setting lifestyle that included frequent travels abroad and rubbing shoulders with the likes of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and pop singer Mick Jagger. He wrote books on exotic plants and Indian history, ran a boutique in Delhi, and embraced permanent bachelorhood. But he was forced to take over his father's legacy after his father died in 1997, and Naveen founded the Biju Janata Dal, or BJD. And for a brief while, served as the Union Minister of Steels and Mines in the Vajpayee government. His party, in alliance with the BJD in alliance with the BJP, won a majority in the 2000 Odisha Assembly elections by defeating the Congress, and Naveen took over as the Chief Minister and turned his back forever on the good life in Delhi that he had had. He discarded opulence, he embraced a frugal lifestyle, wore white cotton kurta pajamas, and stayed in the outhouse of his father's sprawling bungalow in Bhubaneswar. Though he couldn't speak the Odia language fluently, Naveen got down to bringing about a revolution in the development of the state. And he kept what I would call a keep it simple, no nonsense, minimum speeches, maximum governance approach that brought huge results for the state. He appointed competent bureaucrats to execute his vision and came down sternly on MLAs, including on corruption, which he said he would clean up as soon as he joined. He shunned communal politics, and in 2009 he parted ways with the BJP after what is called the Kandamal violence perpetrated then by the Sangh Parivar in the wake of the killing of a Hindu monk at that time. That violence saw more than 39 Christians being killed and over 395 churches set aflame. Naveen's stand of parting ways with the BJP was vindicated when in the 2009 assembly elections, the BJD, the Biju Janata Dal, won 103 seats of the 147 seats in the assembly on its own. That is a two-thirds majority, and the BJP won only 6 seats. Naveen has never looked back since, with the BJD continuing to notch landslide majorities on its own in the 2014 assembly elections as well as in the 2019 assembly polls that were there. By this time, Naveen had built an impressive track record in terms of governance. As is his style, he refuses to tom-tom his achievements, and he told me in an interview, "When your work speaks for itself, then let it." His work certainly does speak for itself. Let me give you a few examples. Poverty in the state, remember it was one of the poorest states when he took over, and according to official statistics, poverty has come down from 63.8% of the population in 2006 to 11.07% now. That's a huge drop of over 50%, and the state government estimates that their welfare schemes have pulled out almost 6.2 million people out of poverty in the past 5 years alone. That is a significant achievement. Now, rice production has grown by as much as 50 times in the past 2 decades, from barely 95,000 tons in 2004 to 5.4 million tons last year. That has made Odisha not only self-sufficient in food grains, but also in a position to sell to other states across the country. Odisha's maternal and infant mortality rates, one of the key indicators of health, have dropped significantly, and the state's per capita income has trebled since 2012. Just to give you figures, it now stands at rupees 1.6 lakh per annum, and this is higher than the other backward states such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, and Jharkhand. Odisha's GDP growth under Naveen Patnaik has been as impressive, and it clocked 7.8% last year. That is higher than the national average of 7%. And in terms of fiscal management, this is a problem that many states face, but Odisha certainly is a shining example of how to run its finances. Its debt to GDP ratio is just 13.1%, the lowest in the country. Creditably, it has a revenue surplus of over rupees 43,471 crore and does not borrow from the market. It's zero borrowing, and because of this huge war chest of money, Naveen Patnaik is able to fund its various welfare programs. And that is why all the programs that is done has ensured that Naveen Patnaik has been re-elected with massive majorities in the past 5 elections. This he did even defeating the BJP at the height of the Modi wave in 2014. But in the past 5 years or so, the BJP has emerged as the prime challenger to the BJD and surprised Naveen Patnaik, in the Lok Sabha elections in 2019. And for instance, in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the BJP increased its tally of 1 seat that it won in 2014 to 8 in 2019. Most importantly, it secured 38.4% of the votes, while the BJD won 12 seats and got 42.8% of the votes. The vote share difference between the BJD and the BJP had narrowed to just 4%. But in the assembly polls, Naveen's BJD remained far, far ahead. Naveen won with a landslide, as he did in 2014. The BJD won 112 of the 147 seats in the 2019 assembly polls. That is actually 38 more seats than the 74 seats needed for a simple majority in that state. The BJD also managed to increase its vote share by 1.3% to touch 44.7%. The BJP vote share in 2019 assembly elections also grew by 14.5 percentage points to an impressive 32.9%, but it is still far, far below what the BJD had got. It still has to catch up on the assembly polls, and in 2019 it just won 23 seats, though it is 10 more than what it won in 2014. So the BJP, to get to striking distance to oust the BJD and Naveen, still has a lot of work to do. But it is now clear that for Naveen, that the BJP has become a major threat to him, and he, in 2019, began to watch out what he would do to counter that for election 2024. So much of his development efforts in his fifth term was directed towards the youth and women, two major vote banks that he wanted to secure, even as he worked on reducing overall poverty in the state. To cater to the youth, he was, and I've been around in the state to see what he did, he focused on improving education and sports facilities, and more than 8,500 government schools were upgraded with digital blackboards in high schools, improved classroom infrastructure and libraries and toilets. I had gone to a school during the election time, and there was an impressive gym which is a state-of-the-art gym where youngsters were practicing on becoming future gymnasts for the country. I also visited many of the other sports facilities, and in the past as well, where Naveen Patnaik over a period of time has built his state not only as a hub of sports for the country, particularly for hockey and training, but also installed world-class facilities across. If you go to Bhubaneshar's Kalinga Stadium, you can see them where athletes from all across the country are coming and practicing. So that contribution has been enormous, and particularly in Indian hockey, where the World Cup hockey has been held twice in the past 5 years, Naveen Patnaik has made Odisha and the surroundings the hub of international hockey. That is a big credit to him, and because of that, a lot of the youth are taking to sports, and this is a very significant contribution that he's made. Now let's move to another thing that he's done, particularly when it comes to women in his state. Naveen has always been a champion working towards their empowerment. This is not something he just did in 2019. In 2011, the state passed a law reserving 50% of the seats for women in Panchayati Raj institutions. And then in 2018, he had the Odisha legislature pass a resolution reserving 33% of the seats in parliament for women long before Prime Minister Modi did. He made sure his party implemented it both for the 2019 and the ongoing 2024 elections in terms of women's representation. Now, under Mission Shakti, the state has excelled in its efforts to boost women entrepreneurs through what is called the self-help groups, or SSGs, dispersing close to rupees 40,000 crores worth of loans to 6 lakh such groups in the past 5 years alone. Now, this has impacted over 7 million women and is certainly going to help Naveen Patnaik in his quest for a 6th term. With Prime Minister Modi gaining in popularity in Odisha and to counter the growing influence of the BJP, Naveen has also flanked central programs that Mr. Modi and the Modi government has released with very innovative state welfare schemes that strive to do one better. Now take the case of the health sector. Apart from revamping all tertiary and secondary care government hospitals, which includes providing them with equipment and medicines, Naveen Patnaik launched the Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana, or the BSKY, in 2018. Now, unlike the centre's Ayushman Bharat scheme, which is based on insurance claims, under the BSKY, each adult is given a card to avail of free treatment of up to rupees 5 lakh, with the state paying the amount directly to private hospitals. They could use this facility in any of the private hospitals that they had gone. In 2019, Naveen also came up with what he called the 5T program. And this stood for teamwork, technology, transparency, and time, leading to transformation. Now, this was his new management mantra, and he had observed the other 3 earlier, but this one he took it even further, pushing for time, for transparency and speed in executing to transform the state. Importantly, he chose Pandian, who was his principal secretary then, to spearhead the effort. And last year, Pandian resigned from the IS and joined the BJD and was given a cabinet rank for running the 5T program, apart from chairing Naveen's re-election campaign. As a result, the 50-year-old Pandian has become the BJP's favorite punching bag and during this election. Now, just a little bit about Pandian. He's a fascinating personality. He's a fitness freak and a long-distance runner, getting up at 4 a.m. And doing his workout, eats very frugally, and he has become Naveen's close aide now for over a decade. Pandian's wife, Sujata Karthikeyan, who is an IS officer herself and is from Odisha, was the driving force behind Mission Shakti before the Election Commission relieved her of the charge before campaigning in 2024. Now, if Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP thought they could trumpet the construction of the Ram temple in Ayodhya, Naveen wooed the Hindu vote in the state by revamping the parikrama or perimeter of the famed Sri Jagannath Mandir in Puri. Naveen made Pandian also to spearhead the revamp of the parikrama of the Mandir. It was a major operation, and I've gone and seen it recently. What Pandian did was to chalk out a 75-meter perimeter of the parikrama around the temple, and which was crowded with existing buildings and obstructions, and had these demolished. After the area was cleared, he transformed it with comfortable walkways and beautiful gardens, and people out there could enjoy walking around the temple, and for the first time you could see Sri Jagannath Mandir clearly. Of course, there are those who complain that some of the mutts that were there earlier had to be moved, and other issues that are there, but clearly it is one of the prime achievements that Naveen Patnaik has done. Also, he inaugurated the revamp of the parikrama just days before Prime Minister Modi performed the Pran Pratishtha ceremony at Ayodhya in January this year. The Odisha government's efforts, say Pandian, have also been secular, and that is in keeping with Naveen Patnaik's secular credentials that he has. So apart from renovating the Sri Jagannath Shrine, the state government has worked to improve the conditions of 12,000 other temples across the state, apart from 1,600 churches and 660 mosques. However, while the Jagannath Mandir makeover may have burnished Naveen's Hindu credentials, Prime Minister Modi's construction of the Ram temple is likely to supersede it as the most significant achievement, providing greater traction for the BJP. Pandian's move to centre stage has given the BJP the perfect handle to paint Naveen as a weak and effete chief minister whose time is clearly up. Ironically, the BJP was all set to tie up with the BJD for a seat-sharing arrangement just before the 2024 elections and before the schedules were announced. Now, while the BJD was willing to concede more Lok Sabha seats to the BJP, talks apparently broke down when the BJP demanded a sizable number of seats for the Legislative Assembly apart from ministerial berths. Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, who belongs to the state and who is contesting the Lok Sabha elections from Odisha, is seen as a potential chief ministerial candidate. He apparently was against any tie-up with the Biju Janata Dal. He believes that the state BJP now has the strength to challenge and defeat Naveen Patnaik. Pradhan says many of Naveen's welfare schemes are performing poorly, and most of the development has been restricted to key urban centers such as Puri, Cuttack and Bhubaneswar, to the neglect of the vast rural areas that the state has. He also alleges, Mr. Pradhan also alleges that there is massive unemployment among youth, and Odisha has become the epicenter of migration under Naveen Patnaik's rule. Naveen's aide Pandian, though, dismisses any talk of Naveen's fading popularity or anti-incumbency, and to illustrate his point, he cites the fact that the Panchayat elections of March 2022, that's just 2 years ago, the BJD captured all the 30 districts, winning 765 of the 852 Zilla Parishad seats. This time, Pandian is wisely contesting neither in the assembly nor in the parliamentary seat, which gives him the freedom to tour the state as well as blunt criticism about him succeeding Naveen Patnaik. Yet, all is not well within the Biju Janata Dal either. Several of its prominent members have defected to the BJP in March 2024, and one expert observer said exodus has been at an industrial scale across to the BJP. Now, the BJD is also struck back and has also won over several significant BJP leaders that are there in the Odisha. So, this is a game that both sides have played, and the BJP has also made restoring Odisha's Asmita or pride, as I said, its primary election plan, and has pledged to stop outsiders, in brackets like or in close quotes like Pandian, who is of Tamil origin, from ruling the state. This has become a major campaign against Naveen Patnaik. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi, who once seemed to enjoy extremely cordial relations with Naveen Patnaik, even praising him at a function a month before the elections, stunned everyone by lashing out at the Chief Minister. At a campaign rally in Kandhamal district on May 11th, he said, "People of the state are unhappy with the Chief Minister because he cannot name the districts of the state and their capitals from a public platform without reading from a piece of paper. Can you trust him with your children's future?" Clearly, he was hitting out at the CM's the rumored failing health of the Chief Minister, and is therefore citing his forgetfulness of facts and other things. At another rally on the same day, alluding to his Naveen Patnaik's alleged incapacity to rule, and that Pandian is filling the gap, the Prime Minister also said, in Odisha, there is a super Chief Minister who lords over democratically elected Chief Ministers and MLAs. Naveen is not one to keep quiet. He hit back in a video recording the same day, telling Prime Minister Modi, and in quotes, "Remembering Odisha only during elections will not help you. Do you remember the promises you had made in 2014 and 2019? The people of Odisha remember your promises to reduce prices of LPG, petrol and diesel, to create 2 crore jobs, to provide mobile connectivity to all, to reduce and waive GST. You have forgotten all these unfulfilled promises of yours, and but the people have not forgotten any of these." Close quotes. Now, the tit for tat went on, and at another rally, Prime Minister Modi said he was concerned with Naveen's poor health and saw a conspiracy in the way the Chief Minister's health was deteriorating, and said he would appoint a special commission to go into it. Indirectly, he was hinting that Pandian was responsible. Naveen Patnaik promptly held a press conference and told Modi, Prime Minister Modi, that instead of wasting his time forming a commission on his health, he should he should form a commission as to why the centre has not delivered the promises that it had made for the state. Though the BJP's party performance and vote share has improved over the past decade, the BJP still relies heavily on Prime Minister Modi to pull it through. All this gives Naveen Patnaik, with his clean image and track record of uplifting Odisha over the past 2 decades, a decisive edge in the assembly. But only on June 4th will we know whether Naveen Patnaik will make history or be history. For more information on Naveen Patnaik's quest for electoral history, do read the latest issue of India Today. Thank you for watching this episode of Nothing But the Truth. I look forward to having you with me next week. Nothing but the truth.